Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today's Tuesday, January 23rd, 2023. College basketball, NBA, NHL, soccer, tennis, portfolio, New Hampshire Republican primary. Today we'll get into that, news and notes, and best bet. We'll start college basketball. We will go over the results from yesterday and look ahead to tonight's window, which is a little bit larger than yesterday. North Carolina, number 3, North Carolina beats Wake Forest 85-64. Maryland Eastern over Queens, New York 71-61. Colgate over Lehigh 60-57. Southeast Louisiana beats Northwestern State 71-62. McNeese beats A&M Corpus Christi 62-61 on this wild buzzer beater, which really was crazy. Nichols over Incarnate Word 78-74 in OT. Lamar over A&M Commerce 76-65. Houston Christian beats New Orleans 88-80. Alcorn State beats Prairie View 90-78. Florida A&M beats Miss Valley State 81-70. Number 7 Kansas beats Cincinnati 74-69. Hofstra beats Stony Brook 80-74. Jackson State beats Texas Southern 73-64. Montana beats Weber State 77-62. Montana State beats Idaho State 77-70. And Arkansas Pine Bluff beats Bethune 76-72. Okay, tonight's window, 6:30, you have number 16 Dayton against LaSalle. So we'll go over the AP poll when we get there, but that's a big jump for Dayton. I have Dayton 7.4. I did not do totals again today, so I'm sorry about that. And Dayton is giving 9.5 totals, 140.5. I could take LaSalle getting the points, even though it's minus 120 on FanDuel from a price standpoint. Fox Sports 1, Butler, Georgetown. My line is Butler by a 10th, and it is 3.5, 149.5. I'll take Georgetown 3 and a hook. They're due to come through in a Big East spot. 7 o'clock on the SEC Network. Number 6 Kentucky at South Carolina. South Carolina's given Kentucky fits over the years. I have Kentucky by 9/10, and it is 5.5, 154.5. I'll take South Carolina to cover. 7 o'clock, ESPN, Texas at number 11, Oklahoma. My line is Oklahoma by 2, and it's 4.5, 143.5. I'll take Texas in the points, but the logical play is Oklahoma bounce back spots, but Oklahoma money line safe. But you could see Texas covering 4.5. ACC Dark, number 12, Duke, Louisville. Obviously, Duke drops after losing at home to Pitt. My line is Duke 9.1. And we have 14.5 and 149.5. I'll take Louisville to cover against Duke. That's way too high. Big Ten Network, number 13, Wisconsin, Minnesota. So Wisconsin drops after losing over the weekend. My line is Wisconsin 3.3. And it's 3.5 and 141.5. I'll take the over. ESPNU, Pitt, Georgia Tech. My line is Pitt by 7/10. And we have 2.5 and 144.5. I'll take the over. ESPN2, Florida State, Syracuse. My line is Syracuse 4.7. And it is 3.5, 149.5. I'll take the under. Don't feel good about it, though. West Virginia, UCF. My line's UCF 3 3/4. And it's 7.5 and 149.5. The logical play is to do UCF money line because, again, bounce backs letdown spot for West Virginia after upsetting Kansas. So that is the logical play, UCF. But I'll take West Virginia to cover that number. West Virginia's been better in Big 12 play with the exception of a couple of road losses against superior teams. UAB Charlotte. My line is UAB 3/10. And it's Charlotte 4.5 total 139. I'll take UAB plus the points and plus 162 to win straight up. On Peacock, Ohio State, Nebraska. Mine's Nebraska 3.1. And we have 3.5 and 149. I'll take the over. St. Bonaventure, Duquesne. My line is Bonaventure by 3/4. And it is Duquesne 1.5, total 141.5. I'll take the over, but I don't feel good about it. St. Joe's UMass. My line's UMass 3/10. And it is 3.5 and 153.5. I will take St. Joe's cover. Loyola Chicago, VCU, CBS Sports Network. Mine's VCU 2.6, and it's 4.5, 136.5. I'll take the. This feels under to me because it's VCU. Ball State, Buffalo. My line's Ball State 1.5. And it is. Where's that line? 1.5, 145.5. So over. Kent State, Bowling Green. Runs Bowling Green 5.8. And it is 1.5, 151.5. I'll lay the 1.5 of Bowling Green. That's low. Miami of Ohio, Central Michigan. My line's Central by 3/4. And it is 1.5, 142.5. I'll take the over. Eastern Michigan, Western Michigan. My line is Western 3.9. And it's 6.5 and 147.5. I'll take Eastern to cover. Ohio, Akron. My line's Akron 8 3/4. And it is 7.5 and 145.5. I'll take the over. 8 o'clock, Evansville, Northern Iowa. My line's Northern Iowa 8.5. And it's 13.5 and 142.5. I'll take Evansville to cover. That's way too high. Belmont, Illinois State. My line's Illinois State as a 3/4 underdog, and they're giving 1.5. Total's 144.5. So actually, I'll take Belmont plus the points and plus 102. Toledo, Northern Illinois. My line's Toledo 2.25, and it's 5.5 and 159.5. I'll take Northern in the points. Xavier and number 17 Creighton on Fox Sports 1. So Creighton only moves up one spot in the ranks. My line is Creighton 7 3/4, and it's 8.5, 150.5. I'll take the over. On Peacock at 9 o'clock, Michigan, number 2, Purdue. My line's Purdue 15.1. And it's 18.5 and 152.5. I'll take Michigan to cover. That's too big. Number 4, Houston. Number 21, BYU. So Houston's up one spot. BYU is down one spot. My line is Houston by 2. And it's 2.5 and 135.5. I'll take the over. San Diego, Portland. My line is Portland 3.25. And it's 3.5 and 158.5. That's way too high. I'm taking the under. BC, Virginia Tech, ACC Network. Mine is Virginia Tech 2.3. And it's 6.5, 146.5. I'll take Boston College to cover. That's way too high. ESPNU, TCU, Oklahoma State. My line is TCU 3.3. And it's 4.5 and 146.5. I'll take the over. CBS Sports Network, Wyoming, San Diego State. My line, San Diego State 10.2. And it is 16.5 and 144.5. I'll take Wyoming to cover. That's a lot of points. SEC Network, Missouri, Texas A&M. Mine's A&M 7.7. And it's 11.5 and 144.5. I'll take Missouri to cover. 10:30 Fox Sports 1, Boise State, Fresno State. My line is Boise by 4. And it's 5.5 and 135.5. I'll take the over. And last but not least, 11 o'clock, CBS Sports Network, Air Force UNLV. My line's UNLV 7 3/4. And it's 11.5 and 132.5. I'll take Air Force to cover. Okay, now move on to the NBA. We will go over the results from yesterday, and then tonight's a small window. So we will get into that as well. Yesterday, Bucks over the Pistons, 132-113. Cavs over the Magic, 126-99. Sixers over the Spurs, 133-123. Grizzlies over the Raptors, 108-100. Hornets over the T-Wolves, 128-125. Celtics over the Mavericks, 119-110. Suns over the Bulls, 115-113. And the Kings over the Hawks, 122-107. All right, tonight, 7 o'clock, you have the Nuggets against the Pacers. From Indy, no Tyrese Halliburton in this one. My line's Nuggets 8.5, total 237.25, and it's 5.5 and 239. I hate to do this, but I'm gonna lay at 5.5 with Denver. 7:30 TNT Knicks Nets. This game should not be on TNT. Brooklyn is inept. Nuggets Pacers should have been the game with or without Tyrese Halliburton. Or you could have talked me in the Jazz Pelicans. The Jazz have turned their season around, so you could have talked me into that one too. My line's Knicks 5 3/4, total 227 and 9/10, and it's 5 and 223. I like the over. 8 o'clock Jazz Pelicans. My line is Pelicans 6 3/4, total 232.5, and 6.5 and 239. Under. That's way too high. Blazers Thunder. My line is Thunder 18 1/4, total 230. And it's 13.5 and 233. I'm going to lay the 13.5 with OKC. And then 10 o'clock TNT Lakers Clippers. My line's the Clippers by 7 3/4, so 230 and 1/10. And it is 9 and 234.5. I like the under. No LeBron. So that's like an auto under. Okay, now move on to the NHL. We'll go over the results from yesterday and look ahead to tonight's slate, which is large. Bruins over the Jets 4-1. Devils over the Golden Knights 6-5 in OT on a game winner by Tyler Toffoli. Preds lose at home to the Panthers 4-1. Coyotes over the Penguins 5-2. Oh my God. Canucks over the Blackhawks 2-0. Sharks over the Kings 4-3 shootout. I should have went Coyotes Pens over for best bet instead of Blackhawks Canucks. Blackhawks Canucks look good early. All right, tonight 7 o'clock Sens Habs. Sens minus 152, Habs plus 126, over under 6.5, overs minus 134, unders plus 110. Sens minus 1.5 is plus 152, Habs plus 1.5 is minus 184. That's a tough one. I'm going to go Montreal on the money line, plus 126. Stars Red Wings. Stars minus 142, Red Wings plus 118, over under 6.5, minus 110 each way. Stars minus 1.5 is plus 162, Red Wings plus 1.5 is minus 196, I like the under. Lightning Flyers. Pick'em minus 110 each way, over under 6.5, overs plus 102, unders minus 124. Bolts plus 1.5 is minus 265, Flyers minus 1.5 is plus 215. I like the Flyers at home, minus 110. 7:30 Golden Knights Islanders. Isles minus 152, Vegas plus 126, over under 5.5, overs minus 118, unders minus 104. Vegas plus 1.5 is minus 105, Isles minus 1.5 is plus 168. I like that under as well. 8 o'clock Caps Wild. Wild minus 160, Caps plus 132, over under 5.5, overs minus 130, unders plus 106. Caps plus 1.5 is minus 192, Wild minus 1.5 is plus 158. I kind of like the Capitals to win straight up, plus 132. 9 o'clock Blues Flames. Flames minus 162, Blues plus 134, over under 6.5, overs plus 110, unders minus 134. Blues plus 1.5 is minus 176, Flames minus 1.5 is plus 146. Over plus money. Don't feel strong about it though. Jackets Oilers. Oilers minus 365, Jackets plus 285, over under 6.5, overs minus 154, unders plus 126. Columbus plus 1.5 is plus 126, Oilers minus 1.5 is minus 150. Oh my God. I'm going to go with over 4.5 Oiler goals at even money. 10 o'clock, ESPN Plus and Hulu. Sabres Ducks. Sabres minus 162, Ducks plus 134, over under 6.5, overs plus 104, unders minus 128. Sabres minus 1.5 is plus 150, Ducks plus 1.5 is minus 182. That's a tough one, but I'm going to go over plus money. And last but not least, 10:30 of the Rangers at the Sharks. Rangers minus 335, Sharks plus 265, over under 5.5, overs minus 140, unders plus 112. Rangers minus 1.5 is minus 136, Sharks plus 1.5 is plus 105. Hopefully that second half of the Ducks game was an offensive turnaround for the Rangers. But the Rangers' defense and goaltending low-key has been weak over the past month or so, and that's why the other teams in the Metro have caught up. So I'm going to go with a disgusting over 2.5 Sharks goals at plus 142. Not calling for a Sharks outright win, but I can see the Rangers winning 5-3, and the fifth one being an empty net. Okay, now we'll move on to soccer. We will go over results from yesterday and look ahead to today's soccer. Asian Cup on Qatar over China 1-0. Tajikistan over Lebanon 2-1. And then this morning, Syria over India 1-0. Australia and Uzbekistan 1-1 draw. Iran over UAE 1-0, and then Palestine over Hong Kong 1-0 right now. And then we'll do tomorrow's games on tomorrow morning's show. Cup of Nations. Guinea over Ivory Coast 4-0. Nigeria over Guinea-Bissau 1-0. Mozambique, Ghana 2-2 draw. Cape Verde, Egypt 2-2 draw. And then today at noon, you have Gambia and Cameroon. Cameroon minus 220, Gambia 6-1. The draw is plus 280. We're going to do over 2.5 goals at minus 102. Guinea and Senegal. Senegal minus 110. Guinea plus 310. Draw plus 180. And we go Senegal at minus 110. And then yesterday was that Equatorial Guinea was what beat Ivory Coast yesterday. At 3 o'clock, you have Angola and Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso plus 135. Angola plus 250. Draw plus 165. I like the draw plus 165. And then 3 o'clock, you have Mauritania and Algeria. Algeria minus 280. Mauritania plus 750. The draw is plus 330. I like over 2.5 goals at minus 106. Do we have a Liga yesterday? Yes. Athletic over Granada 1-0. We have Liga MX tomorrow. No Premier League till a week from today. French League 1 returns on Friday. ELC from yesterday. Leicester Ipswich 1-1 draw. We have a Carabao Cup game today at 3. We have Chelsea and Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough leads 1-0 on aggregate. Chelsea's favorite minus 600. Middlesbrough is 10-1. The draw is plus 550. Going over 3.5 goals minus 102. Copa del Rey today. Quarterfinals 3:30 of Celta Vigo and Real Sociedad. Real Sociedad plus 10. Celta Vigo plus 290. The draw is plus 190. I'm going to go with Real Sociedad at plus 110. And then I'm trying to think if... Looks like we have Scottish Premiership today. So I want to touch on that game. very quickly. 2:45, you have Hearts and Dundee. Hearts is third. Dundee's seventh. I think there's a drastic difference between these two teams. Hearts is minus 150. Dundee's plus 420. The draw's plus 250. For this one, we're going over 2.5 goals at minus 108. Okay, now move on to tennis. We'll go over the results from yesterday into this morning and look ahead to tonight overnight. Men's from yesterday, fourth round, 2-seed Carlos Alcaraz Garcia over Mimur Kamanovic in 3 sets. 6-seed Alexander Zverev over 19-seed Cameron Norrie in 5 sets. And then quarterfinal results today, 4-seed Jannik Sinner over Andrei Rublev in 3 sets. 1-seed Novak Djokovic over 12-seed Taylor Fritz in 4 sets. And coming up at 9:30 tonight, you have 9-seed Hubert Hurkacz in 3 sets. Daniil Medvedev. Should be a great match between these two. So Medvedev is minus 245. Hurkacz is 2-1 as a dog. We're going to go to set betting. I think this goes 5, and I think that Medvedev will get it done. And I think Medvedev 3-2 is the pick. I'm going to do that at plus 390. And then overnight tonight, 6-seed Andrei Rublev and 2-seed Carlos Alcaraz Garcia. Alcaraz is a 5-1 favorite. Zverev is plus 350 or plus 380. I'm thinking Alcaraz 3-1. What is that? That's plus 250. We're going to do that as the pick. All right, the women's. Fourth round, 12-seed Wen Zhang over Oceania Dodin in 2 sets. Anna Kalinskaya over 26-seed Jasmine Paolini in 2 sets. Quarterfinal, 4-seed Coco Gauff over Marta Kasiuk in 3 sets. And then early this morning, 2-seed Arina Sabalenka over 9-seed Barbora Krejcikova in 2 sets. And at 8 o'clock tonight, Linda Noskova and Diana Yastremka. Noskova's favored minus 196. Yastremka's plus 166. I think Yastremska's going to win at plus 166. And in terms of set winners, I'm going Yastremka 2-1 plus 410. So I'm going to give out the Yastremka plus 166, and then I'll give out plus 410 for her to win it in 3 sets. And then overnight tonight, Anna Kalinskaya and 12-seed Wen Zhang in the quarterfinals. Zhang's minus 180. Kalinskaya's plus 152. Zhang's pretty good. I think she wins in 3 sets. That is plus 260. Can win Zhang for 3 sets at plus 260. Is me my pick for there. And then we'll do some semifinals picks on tomorrow's podcast. Okay, the portfolio. There's a lot of directions we can go here in terms of finding a future to sprinkle on. Over the weekend, I did a championship parlay in terms of 4 teams win their respective titles. It was over 247-1 odds. The 49ers win the Super Bowl. The Celtics win the NBA title. The Dallas Stars to win the Stanley Cup. And Kansas to win the men's title game. We'll see how that plays out. There's going to be some hedge opportunities coming up this weekend. And if the San Fran wins the Super Bowl, there'll be hedge opportunities in the NCAA tournament, the Stanley Cup playoffs, and in the NBA playoffs, if it were to come to that. But I'm eyeing college basketball for futures, and I want to look at conference odds, conference outrights. In terms of like long shots to win their conferences. I want to look at A10. So right now Dayton and Richmond are tied. Dayton's minus 190, Richmond's plus 320. Loyola Chicago is 13-1. And they're 5-1. And a couple teams, VCU's 10-1, they're 2 back. What's Rhode Island? 100-1. That's wild. George Washington's pretty good. They're 200-1. Whoo! They're 14-4. They're 2 back. They have 2 losses in conference play. Does George Washington? They lost to Fordham by 6 and at UMass by 14. But George Washington has extremely good value. So does Loyola Chicago at 13-1, but let's get crazy value. We'll do $5. George Washington at 200-1 to win the Atlantic 10. Why not? Regular season winner. 201, $5 pays out of 1,000. Okay, the New Hampshire primary. That will be today. Obviously, we had the Iowa primary 2 weeks ago. And Donald Trump beat out Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis. And DeSantis obviously dropped out of the election. And he'll probably, you would think, would run 4 years from now so he could finish out his gubernatorial term in Florida. But I thought he was the best chance to unseat Donald Trump in the Republican side, not Nikki Haley. But where things stand right now, there's 6 votes in for Nikki Haley as of 11 o'clock this morning. This has 6 votes. It's obviously the popular vote. So the New Hampshire Republican primary in 2016, Trump won it with 35.2% of the vote, with John Kasich coming in second with 15.7%. So it's really just Haley versus Trump. So there's endorsement maps. Which is interesting. If you want to go by endorsement maps. And Nikki Haley won the small community of Dixville Notch, which is in Dixville Township in New Hampshire. That's where Nikki Haley got the 6 votes. So this is something we're going to follow. I think Trump's going to beat her out, personally. But it could be wrong. There could be an upset here. But all eyes on New Hampshire, for sure. It's obviously a popular vote. So there's a small county that endorsed Ron DeSantis. But most of the counties here have no endorsement. There was a small county that endorsed Nikki Haley. That's probably where that town that voted her in was, or that she got the 6 votes from. And then there was one county that endorsed Trump. So I think Trump wins, and I think it'll be like something in the ballpark of which he won by in 2016, like 35-15, something in that ballpark. I could see it being like 36-14 if you're rounding numbers. So we'll keep our eye on that, and we'll talk about it on tomorrow's podcast. And Iowa, we just forgot to talk about a couple weeks ago. So I'm just going to pull up those numbers real quick. So for Iowa, Trump got 51%, Nikki Haley 19.1%, Ryan Binkley 0.7%, Ron DeSantis, who withdrew, 21.2%, Vivek Ramaswamy, who withdrew 7.7%, and Asa Hutchinson, who withdrew 0.2%. So Ryan Binkley's still in this as well. And just so we know, Trump's not on the ballot for Nevada primary. And Nikki Haley is not on the ballot for caucuses. So that's something to keep an eye on come February 6th and 8th. And the Virgin Islands is the 8th as well. So we'll be covering this on the show within the next several weeks and months leading up to the big election. So all eyes on New Hampshire for today. All right, now we will do news and notes. So Joel Embiid put up 70 in the Sixers win over the Spurs, and Karl Anthony Towns put up 60 plus in their loss to Charlotte. And something funny was that Hornets play-by-play announcer Eric Collins, Cat had 62. So he was in disbelief during Towns' performance. I suggest you guys check that out. And speaking of the Hornets, they trade Terry Rozier to the Miami Heat for Kyle Lowry and a future first-round pick. Rozier is just the perfect fit for the Miami Heat. I'm concerned that he doesn't play that much defense, but if anybody is going to be good at hiding his weaknesses, it's going to be the Miami Heat. So I don't mind the deal for the Miami Heat. And now it's next for Lowry. He goes to Charlotte. I think they're going to buy him out. But the Hornets have no immediate plans to buy him out. And they're not dealing as they want to accumulate future assets ahead of the deadline. And now the Hawks are seeking a 3-team trade as they wanted to deal DeJounte Murray to the Lakers, but they do not want D'Angelo Russell. I feel like nobody wants D'Angelo Russell. Laporta rips Madrid cause he calls VAR a disgrace after Real's controversial win over Almeria. How about this? WWE is going to Netflix as Monday Night Raw will stream exclusively on Netflix starting January 2025. And the agreement, according to CNBC, is for 10 years. That's crazy. Good for Netflix to getting Raw. And Netflix, I think, is going to be a monster down the road. So that's a big deal. And we have a coaching hire. The Tennessee Titans hire Brian Callahan to be its next head coach. Bengals offensive coordinator. I think it's a good hire for Tennessee. Somebody that has a good background, worked with good quarterbacks. He got a lot out of Jake Browning this past year, which really, I think, got the ball rolling with Callahan and made him a popular name. And this is a good job for Callahan. There's going to be no expectations. The team's going to stink. They're going to probably finish last in that division next year with all the other good quarterbacks in that division. And they're going to be rebuilding. And that's the type of coach you want to hire if you're rebuilding. Like, a guy with a good reputation and the guy that will get a lot out of young players and has a good resume and background. So I like the hire for Tennessee. And I don't think it's going to pay dividends right away like Brian Daboll did with the Giants last year and DeMeco Ryans did this year at Houston. But I do think that Callahan could end up being a hit. So Belichick to Atlanta is losing steam as they aren't approaching coaching search with Belichick or bust mentality. I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm saying on Belichick's end, wait to see what happens in Buffalo after that loss. Will they fire Sean McDermott? And then Buffalo gives him the best chance to break that record. He'll break it in a year and a half, meaning the Don Shula record. The Eagles continue to clean house as they fire Brian Johnson. Yeah, they did exactly what I thought they were going to do, fire the coordinators. Because they realized that Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon were good coordinators. They actually, Steichen had a better season than Gannon, obviously, but Gannon got a lot out of that Arizona team. So, they have to hire from outside, Philadelphia does. Panthers promote assistant GM Dan Morgan as their new general manager who will help with the head coach search. That's not surprising. I think they should have gone outside of the organization to hire, but they did not. The Eagles are interviewing Ron Rivera for their defensive coordinator. That'd be interesting. How about this? The Lions signing Zach Ertz as he'll join the practice squad for the NFC title game. So they have him and Laporte. I feel like that's Laporte insurance because Laporte is obviously injured. Chargers are setting up a second interview with Jim Harbaugh. That's a big deal. We talked about McNeese with that crazy buzzer beater against Corpus Christi. DePaul fires Tony Stubblefield after 0-7 start the Big East play. DePaul changes coaches every other year. They are so dysfunctional. Nobody cares about DePaul. They're just an awful, awful basketball team. And they're never good. They're never going to be good. Unless they nail recruiting classes, which they don't. And they're in a very hard league that's filled with elite coaches. So the AP pulls out. We alluded to it earlier. 1 through 5, UConn, Purdue, Carolina, Houston, Tennessee. 6 through 10, Kentucky, Kansas, Auburn, Arizona, Illinois. 11 through 15, Oklahoma, Duke, Wisconsin, Marquette, Baylor. 16 through 20, Dayton, Creighton, Utah State, Memphis, Texas Tech. 21 through 25, BYU, FAU, Iowa State, Colorado State, New Mexico. So those two Mountain West teams get in at the end. That's pretty cool. Texas Tech moves up big. Memphis drops. Baylor drops. Duke drops. Kansas drops. Auburn gets a bump. Dayton moved up, as we alluded to earlier. Others receiving votes: Seton Hall, San Diego State, Kansas State, Alabama, TCU, Ole Miss, Princeton, Utah, Texas, Boise State, Gonzaga, Florida, Grand Canyon, Michigan State, St. Mary's, San Fran, Sanford, McNeese, Indiana State, NC State, Colorado. TCU and Ole Miss dropped from the rankings. We have to keep our eye on Sanford. They have 2 losses in the SoCon. We have to keep our eyes on McNeese, too, who has 2 losses in the Southland. And we have to keep our eyes on Princeton, who has 1 loss, and they're in the Ivy League. Those are the 3 teams that I think have a chance to be the St. Peter's of this year in the tournament that can make an unexpectedly deep run. So keep an eye on those couple of schools for sure. More news and notes. We're going to rapid fire this. No LeBron against the Clippers. So James Paxton looks like he signed with the Dodgers 1 year, $12 million. I'm not a James Paxton fan. He was a flop with the Yankees. He wasn't good on the Red Sox. So, maybe as the 5th guy with the Dodgers with no pressure, maybe. You never know. And the full package with Lowry and Rozier, it's those 2, and then 2027 first-round pick going to Charlotte. And that could be a good first-rounder, because what if Miami stinks in 2027? Possible. Jimmy Butler might be on a different team by then. Bam will probably still be there, but you never know. So they could have landed themselves a good pick with that one. But I think it's a good deal for both sides. And then they obviously have to either buy out Lowry or trade him again. The Pirates signed Aroldis Chapman, 1-year deal. This is the same situation he was in last year. He goes to the Royals and gets traded. I think it'll be the same thing here. The Mets had their eyes on Chapman. They also like Hector Neris. SEC coach rips transfer portal as a former SEC assistant calls current system a shit show. He has a case. Brock Purdy's brother flips to Nevada as he was initially committed to San Jose State. C.J. Stroud donates to the Buckeyes NIL as he's first former athlete to become a major donor. So Tennessee lands a 5-star quarterback, George McIntyre. He picks them over Alabama, Clemson, and others. Number 15 overall player in the 2025 class. Josh Allen says that shoulder surgery isn't expected at the moment after it bothered him throughout the year. And then Josh Allen is keeping it positive after the game. Lions center Frank Ragnow played with injury and only missed a few plays after spraining knee and ankle on Sunday. Wow. Debo is 50-50 for Sunday's game against the Lions due to shoulder injuries. That's something to keep our eye on. Mira Andreeva bit herself, and she left the bite marks on her arm during the Australian Open. That's gross. Carmelo Anthony had criticism to R.J. Barrett, calling him a bland player. R.J. Barrett said it was funny. Like, why is this coming out? Like, R.J. Barrett's not on the Knicks anymore. Maybe Carmelo thought he was overrated. The Knicks obviously felt that way because they traded him for OG Anunoby. Houston commit Mercy Miller, who's the son of Master P, gets a $1.4 million NIL deal as he joins Sweet Kiwi as a brand ambassador. So that is interesting. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. So, best bet for today. There's a couple I had in my head, but there's an obvious one sitting there. This team just blows everybody out. I think I had the same team against the same team in the same building earlier in the NBA season as best bet. I'm going to go back to, a fifth of a unit. I'm laying 13.5 with Oklahoma City. Portland stinks. They don't care. They're not trying. I'm laying a fifth of a unit on the Thunder minus 13.5 at home against the Blazers for my best bet of the day. And we hope to get best bet back on track because January's been a dismal month so far. All right, so that's it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything. I'll get to everything tomorrow as well. We're going to do the next golf tournament on the Thursday show. And then we have news and notes, best bet, and everything else, obviously. Have a great day, everybody.